Hi everybody, it's Erin, and we are going to play with a brand new set of markers I just ordered. So let's take a look. This is a brand new alcohol type marker, or not type, it is an alcohol marker, and it's a marker called Stylefile. And I got these through a company called Brutus Monroe, and the links for how to get these markers are down below. And I want to tell you some of the reasons why I decided to order these markers. In the past, I have used these. So I've got some Spectrum Noir, I've got a few Copics. This is the Pit Pastel from, Faber-Castell's Pit Pen, and again, a couple more of the other ones. The problems with these guys, not that there is any problem with them, they're fantastic markers, it's just the price. Bottom line, it's the price. And I have a hard time swallowing because I am not a big stamp and color inner. I'm not a coloring person. And I didn't want to invest a ton of money into markers for something that it really wasn't 100% what I was enjoying to do. And so Copic Markers, as we all know, works just like that. So this is what a Copic marker looks like. The Spectrum Noir, same concept. I don't have the same color, so I can't compare the colors. And then here is the Pit Pastel. Okay, so right off the bat, one of the first things I've noticed between them is that this one only has one color. This one, I believe, is also more of, this is a waterproof, and I'm not 100% sure if this is an alcohol marker. That's one thing I just don't know for sure. These guys are definitely, and so in my mind, these markers are all in the same family. A couple of things that are similar is that there is a blending marker. That's what this guy is. It's the 000. So you can take your colors and you can blend them. The other thing these all have in common is they all have two different sizes of brushes. So they all have a fine tip and a thick tip. And again, I'm sorry I don't have the same color as a comparison. So you can refill them, and same with these guys. You can refill these guys as well. So let me just go ahead and pull a completely different color just for something grins and giggles. Let's grab this guy. This is the thick one, and then here is the thin. So this nib on this guy is a lot firmer. So if I was going to try and color in something but I needed a smaller tip, this tip is different, whereas the Copics and this one act more like a brush. But I can kind of see how it blends down. Same with the Copic marker. The tip for this guy actually does blend down, meaning it bends. So I'm not necessarily running out of ink. It's just not as firm as a nib as this guy. Price comparison. These guys, even if you're able to use one of your coupons and you go to a Michael's, if they even have the color that you want, they're still going to run you upwards of, I think, $6 or $7 a pen. Another thing about the Spectrum Noirs is I have found it's very hard to buy just individual colors of these, and you have to buy them in packs. So it's kind of good and it's kind of bad because sometimes they already have the packs in specialized kind of color arrangements that might be good. But what if you just really want a purple and you only want purple, or you only want a couple of shades of purple? You really just want, you know, these couple of shades or something to that effect. Then it's very hard to find them for Spectrum Noir. These guys, on the other hand, are $3.50 a piece. They are about half the price of what you would get for, let's say, the Copic markers. And that is an amazing deal. $3.50 per marker is fantastic. So on the tip here, on both sides, it has pale green, bronze green, forest green, deep greens. It does have names on them. So I got this fun stamp, and this one is a Brutus Monroe stamp. It's one of his background stamps, and I thought it'd be really pretty. I've used this guy before, but I think I even left it blank or I watercolored with it. I don't remember. But I thought this would just be a fun, simple card that I could stamp up. And this is the detail ink from Brutus Monroe, and I'm just doing this on white cardstock. Nothing fancy, white cardstock. So come in, get my stamp on there. For these big stamps, I do not bother putting any kind of it on a stamp block. To me, it's just not worth it. I'm not worried about being perfection. If you've got one of those stamp positioner things, more power to you on that. These fit fantastic on there. So I'm just going to come in, and I am going to use the fine tip, and I'm just going to go in and I'm going to color. Part of the reason why I've never done a whole lot of coloring is that I haven't been able to afford to get those markers, those Copic markers, the Spectrum Noirs. I've never been able to play. and get all kinds of fancy with having a marker. It's expensive. But I was able to, this is my birthday present to myself, get myself a whole bunch of markers that was not a super expensive treat. And now I can go in, and if I want to get a few more and I feel like, okay, for $3.50 to get a marker, that's not too bad. I can come in and I can, especially if I know I'm going to do a whole lot of one thing, like I might get a couple more greens because I have a feeling I'm going to use these for flowers more than anything else. I'm not going to color a little girl kind of a person. And I might get a lighter brown now that I know that brown's not super light, that kind of a thing. So I'm just doing a few of the leaves. I'm just kind of coming in with what I would call my mid-range green. And now I'm going to come in with a lighter green here. Oops, wrong side. Come in with my lighter green. Okay, oh, I just realized. So there's two different dots on here. And there's also a band. So wherever the band is a lighter, that means this dark kind of black band around here, there's a small dot. That small dot means you've got your fine tip. The big dot means you've got your chisel tip. So that's kind of handy. So that way you're not always opening and closing and getting the wrong one. So I'm just going to come in and kind of blend. These aren't the best colors for blending. That's okay. All right, so I think I got all my leaves on there, and I just did the two tones. I didn't want to pull in these colors because to me these don't seem very leafy. I mean, I guess that could be, but I liked the brighter tones. And this does not seem very leaf-like to me at all, but these ones definitely could pass for leaves. Okay, the next ones I'm going to do is I'm going to stick with my pinky line, which is right here. I'm just going to keep this, you know what, let's never mind. I'm going to do kind of an orangey yellow. Let's go with a little bit of autumn here. Stay away from the pinky tones. So the colors I'm dealing with, I have kind of this orange, I have yellow, which is a brighter yellow. Those look really pretty together. I also have this pretty orange, and then I have, I fly my markers all over the place, bright orange. So those will look really pretty together. Some flowers, for instance, like, I'm not really even sure what these little bubble things are, but some of the flowers, because they're just so simple, I think I'm just going to keep them just one tone of a color. I might change my mind on that, but for right now, I think that's where I'm going to go. But then for some of these, for instance, like this guy, I can go in and I can do one color like this. So I can come in like that. I can go in with the next darker color. So I can go in with another darker color. And then I can go in with the lightest color at the very end, which would be the tip. So you can kind of change it up using your stamp markings as your guideline. So you, oh, I did miss a leaf. I knew every now and then I would find a little leaf that I just completely missed. I did it again. I did the wrong side. And so you can just kind of come in and fill in any leaves that you may have forgotten. And then I can take the darkest color. I can go in right there. So there's definitely a way to do the gradation on this and have fun with that. I can also play with, for instance, I can do, you know, a light color or a darker color in the background on this. And even do the little ball down there, and then come in with a lighter color, the one that's just a little bit lighter, and do the front leaf on that one. And that kind of creates a little bit of a fun looking flower. So I'm going to go ahead and keep filling in all the flowers with these four colors. All right, I think I got everything. I don't think I missed anything except for maybe a little leaf right there, which we can easily come in. And as I'm filling this all in, I am realizing I don't have a true red. This is the closest I have to a red, and it's not even red. I completely missed that portion of the color palette, which was a nice deep red. This is not bad, but it's not what I would call red, red, red. Anyway, moot point, I still have a couple of red, like this is lipstick red. So if I need be, I can always come in and I can, you know, blend the two since I already have a couple of reds. Maybe that's what I was thinking. I'm not sure. Okay, next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this out to be a 4x6. Okay, so I cut down my paper to be just big enough to stick on here. And I'm trying to decide, and the beauty of this particular stamp is that it doesn't matter if you go horizontal or if you want to do it vertical. It works beautifully both ways. This could be a gorgeous card just as is, but to make sure this kind of pops off of my card, because I'm doing white on white. I could do it on craft. I think it would look really pretty on craft, but I'm just going to stick with a white card base because I have a ton of them. You could also do this part on craft as well versus on white or an ivory or something else. And I'm going to go ahead and pull out my tape runner. Go ahead and stick that down. I also want to point out, since on the back side of this, if you notice, it did not bleed much. It's not running all over the place. It gave actually a really pretty impression on the back. It's almost pretty enough to do something with as well. So I love that. Okay. And as I was coloring, it didn't make my ink bleed. So these work really well together. I can stamp and I can color, and there's no problems one way or the other. It doesn't make my marker have a black tip, and it doesn't make the ink move around whenever I color it. So I love that. Okay, I got a brand new stamp from Brutus Monroe, and just so you guys can see it, I'm going to pop it up on here. And this one, they're all what I would call autumn, which is the colors that I went with on the front. So I love this one because it already has the leaves on here. And so what it is, I went ahead and cut a sheet of paper that is about the same size as the width of it, because I need to be able to fit the whole thing on there. I'm going to go ahead and stamp it in black. And for this one, I am going to use a stamp block because it's not filling up the entire space. Go back again with my ink. Put it on my stamp block perfectly. So I got to angle my stamp block a little bit different. Don't rock your stamp, but you want to get a good clean image by pressing down evenly all the way around. I will eventually clean my stamps. I suck at that. I have stamp cleaner right here, but if you look at my stamp, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot on here. I can even kind of come down and there's not hardly anything left on there. So unless I feel like my stamp is super, super dirty, which I'm getting crap all over my thing, I'm not going to mess with it. I'm now going to come in and I'm going to use the same colors, of which I just completely threw all in here. And I'm going to do all the leaves in my autumn colors that I just did earlier. And I'm just going to go ahead and color all these in. All right, so now that I have that done, I'm going to go ahead and trim this up. I think I'm liking the vertical on that. Again, I'm going to ink the edge of this. And it'd be very difficult to stamp this and fussy cut that out, which is why I'm leaving it just as a big blank. And I'm trying to decide if I want to do it this way. I think I'm going to cover up the one section here that I didn't really color stamp very well. See how it's kind of faded? So I think I'm going to cover it up this way, but I want to add a strip because I feel like it's just floating right now. So my stamp, my background is 1/4 inch smaller than the card. So I'm going to give this a 1 inch strip because this box is really big. So I'm going to cut a 1 inch strip, and then lengthwise, I'm going to go all the way the full length of the card, which is 5.5. So now my strip is right here. It's a 5.5, just like that. But we're going to do something fun, and here's the cool thing. If I tried to match one of the colors on here with a sheet of cardstock, I would probably have a really, really hard time. So we're going to make our own colored cardstock with the colors I have already used, and I think I'm going to go with this nice bright color here, like this dark, deep red. So I'm going to pick the chisel tip this time, and I'm going to go and I'm just going to make my paper the color. And now it matches perfectly. So as long as you don't need a ton of paper, this is one way to do it. And what I purposely did is I didn't start from one end and go all the way down, because I'm going to put this right on top, so you're never going to see this overlap section. So it's going to look just like that. And so now this matches. I could have done the yellow, I could have done all the other colors, but now I have a matching color that's perfect match because I use the exact same thing. I am going to ink the edge of this just to make it all consistent. So it just gives that a little bit of a border. And as a heads up, you could easily take your black marker, and just to show you on a sheet of scratch paper, well, let me take the rest of this. I'm going to show you real fast. You could easily take your marker and just go along the edge with your marker if you don't want to use your ink. So this is another way of using your pens and getting a nice fine defined line. It almost looks like you backed it in black, but you really didn't. So there's that. Okay, so I'll show you what we're going to do with this piece in a second. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to do it this way because I want my box to go on this side. I'm going to take this, add some adhesive on the back. This is just a tape runner from Xyron. It's really easy to use. There we go. Go ahead and take, and I've done it before, so just as a heads up, before you flip over your paper and put adhesive, make sure your mat's clean enough, like right here. If I hadn't let this dry a second, this will come up, by the way. If you do have your squeaky clean, and I just happen to have a little towel, I always leave a towel on my thing, it's going to come up, which is beautiful. I need to seriously clean my map because it's pretty gross. All right, so this is going to go here, and again, it's going to cover up where I didn't ink the greatest, stamp the greatest, so it kind of blended a little bit. So now I've got a beautiful background. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to add this guy just like this, just a little bit of something. So when you open your card, you go, oh, well, there's something there. How pretty. I could put it here. I think, oh, actually, I like that better. Leaves the space open to write. So it's just a little pretty something on the inside of my card. As long as I don't see it, that's what I'm going to be careful of. I'm going to open this guy up. I think I've got enough layers here where it's not going to impede. Yeah, you can't see it at all. It doesn't bleed through. I think if I did it this way, it's kind of a cool effect, but I don't want to do that. So instead of wasting this whole thing, this is another use for those extra pieces that you might have, and it's already cut down to be the right size. That's kind of nice. If you didn't want to put this on the inside, you could also put this on the envelope. That'd be a pretty thing to put on the outside of the envelope. Ooh, I might do that. Lovely thing about this adhesive, it gives it a little bit of time to kind of set. So I'm just going to place this as a fun little barrier. I think I have to add a little more adhesive since I kind of pulled it off. Not much. So for those extra pieces, it's something fun that you can add to your envelope, and now you definitely know that they go together, which is pretty fun. And I'm not worried about the fact that this didn't stamp cleanly. It happens, and I'm not worried. I kind of like the look because it's that grungy look. So if you didn't want to have an extra piece that was useful for something else, another option is go ahead and cut, once you stamp it, cut it down to the size you actually want so you're not coloring more than you need to. It's up to you however you want to do that. So thanks for stopping by and checking out my fun new markers. So go check them out for $3.50. It is an awesome deal. And so they color beautifully. They do blend just as well as any other alcohol marker. They work great with inks, and they make your projects look beautiful. And for a stamp like this, you could turn this kind of a stamp into autumn. You can turn this kind of a stamp into spring, into Christmas, into pick whatever colors you want to color with. We could have gone with a red, white, and blue. I know this isn't purely red, but it looks pretty darn red. You could have gone for a red, white, and blue look for, 4th of July. You can play with it. So it's whatever colors you want. Gone for all pinks for a baby girl card. So lots of ways you can do it. It all depends on what sentiment you want to create with it. So thanks for stopping by and checking it all out. I hope you subscribe, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye-bye.